My chief said we brain banging, we ain't gang banging. So welcome to Brain Bang University, motherfuckers. I'm the motherfucking dean of the university, and I'm gonna brain bang your ass into submission. I'm gonna let that sink in while I light my blunt.
Smoke something, bitch.
It's 7:20 on the Facebook Live off of Instagram rejection to a Facebook escape. Backdoor channels, turn around, back to the beginning, tit for tat on a knock to a knockback from the beginning to the end, and to the beginning I never lose because I'm all about winning. But we're gonna try to give a few minutes for some people to get in here, so they didn't need to hear all my pre-show code flip. So we was going live on Instagram with a sister that invited me on her platform, but apparently I'm in Instagram jail still, so we had to come over here to Facebook. And soon as she slow connection. Let me try something. Okay, so I had a little glitch, so we back up. We up. I wasn't intending to do a live on my platform. I was supposed to be a guest on a different platform, but they wouldn't let me in, so we trying to get in over here and let the sisters come to Facebook and ask me the questions that they wanted to ask me on their platform. So I'm waiting on them to log in and come on over. And in the meantime, I have no clue what the hell I'm about to be talking about. So if y'all got any questions, y'all could just put them in the comments, and if I see a question, it'll give me something to talk about while we waiting. Peace, Mike, peace. Right back at you, brother. Right back at you. The gratitude reciprocates the mutual respect and enhance the frequency of the bond between brothers. Brotherly love, Philadelphia. Philo, Delphi, love of the oracles. It's the return of the ancient ones. It is the tit for tat, knock to a knockback off an ancestral code crack to restore the rightful heirs off a right shot to an ear. That's a Donald the Duck. Did they tell Donald the Duck? Or was it just a Howard the Duck masquerade? No, Dr. York is not Enlil. Dr. York was known as Marduk. But he was Marduk's Enki son, not Marduk Enlil's son, who was slightly named different. So it's Marduk and Marduk. And it's the way that they change names in order to steal the identity of their other family members when it's not their proper time to rule, so that they can usurp the throne and jurisdictional authority of the other ones. Julian Assange going by living his life. They might kill him, but shit, he going by living his life. They let him out. He was exonerated. He was found to be innocent of whatever they was accusing him of. Hey, Landa. Y'all don't know that's my first love right there. We go back like slingshots and crossbows. Goddamn it, that's day one. You and me, girl, go a long way back. 2/21/93, 7/14/11. Right now, I'm not trying to flip birthdays out, because that'll turn into a whole live on its own of people asking me about birthdays. Hold on. trying to. I don't know how to let y'all. Y'all gotta. Let me see. Oh, here it go right here. No, that's the wrong one. That's the one. Okay. So it's and Frederica. What's the other name? Kelly.
This some
Got one
bullfracking
in.
now, you know. This some bullshit. You know that, right?
Okay.
Can you hear me?
It said that she was unable to add Kelly. Can
Oh,
you hear me clear?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
It said it was unable to add Kelly, so you're gonna have to handle it. It said it couldn't add her.
Oh, this is
I just sent
crazy.
her another one. Yeah, it said this person was able to join because of technical issues.
What? Ooh, let me see. Kelly, see if you can send it to me. I'm trying to add you, baby. Let's see.
Yeah, it keeps saying the same thing, so you're gonna have to carry it.
Yeah,
The interview.
yeah.
You're gonna have to ask your questions, and then we're gonna take it from there.
It's not letting me add you, baby. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, I'm tried again, Kelly. I don't even know how to do it any other way. So, Rod, thank you. Look, we doing tea for thought without my co-host. Kelly, put your stuff in here because I can't get it to go on to let you in.
It's
But
not
this
gonna let
is
her in.
okay. So this
I'm,
is go
I'm
ahead,
barely
Rod.
out of Facebook jail. I'm barely out of
Dang,
Facebook jail.
that's crazy. That's crazy. So this is what I want to talk about. We're going to get right straight to it. First off, let's talk about cracking codes, what it means to really crack codes, because people don't understand that. They don't get that it's always a hidden message because they got to tell us. Tell us about
That's it.
cracking codes.
So you got different types of codes for different organizations, different groups, right? The Masonic lodges, the Shriners, they all have hand signals that they use in the public. But also the military has signals that they exchange in the public to communicate at far distances using the aid of live TV or news TV and etc. So when the CIA infiltrated Hollywood, then this gave them the opportunity to talk to agents around the world in the form of arts and entertainment or in the form of news and information. So we can both watch the same documentary. You're going to get what they intend for you to get out of it. I'm not going to see it the same because my mind is predisposed to look for the codes.
Mm-hmm.
That go back to my childhood training and my mother always talking in code around us. I have a knack for cracking codes.
Mm.
So when I see something, I don't see it like everybody else. I see, instead of seeing the movie on the screen, I'm looking at the director directing the movie. I'm looking at the writer while he writing the script because he's writing it in real time most of the time,
Mm-hmm.
or what they call on the fly.
Right.
This allowed me to see what they saying to each other in a language that the average one of us don't understand. So we go in, we get their system, we practice their system until we master it. Then we use their system to tell the rest of the clans what they saying in our face, behind our back.
Damn. So I'm going to go right straight to it. President Trump, that red, first off, that was paint. That didn't even look like blood. So that's what I'm going to say.
Remember
Right.
this, when they stage an incident,
Mm-hmm.
it don't mean nobody not gonna get hurt.
Yeah.
It don't mean
Damn.
that they won't use real shooters to really shoot a motherfucker because they staging it.
Mm-hmm.
If you're familiar with Project Looking Glass, they knew that Trump was going to have an attempted assassination. For those who don't know what Looking Glass is, the United States military has a program called Project Looking Glass, and they're using artificial intelligence and then loading all of these events in real time into artificial intelligence, and they project the date to artificial intelligence, and it tells them what to expect, right? Now, also, while artificial intelligence is warning them about the potential assassination of Trump, his astrological chart reflect that there would be something of this type in his life path.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they can allow it to go all the way up until they can stop the actual event. This is how you capture the energy. So now that they captured the assassination energy, they can move it anywhere they want it to go. It's like having a shield, an energetic shield. They capture the assassination energy by preventing the assassination, but somebody got to die somewhere else. So they allowed the shooter to shoot an innocent person, innocent blood. The blood of the righteous should not be spilled in vain.
Mm-hmm.
Which is the cause to justify the redemption and the salvation of Trump by allowing him to live. They killed the innocent person, innocent bystander.
Damn. So what was this thing with his he said fight, fight. That was a sign.
That's military code. In the military, I posted it on my page on Instagram, and it came up on Facebook too. But in the military code, he was telling them to hold when he first put up the fist. Hold your position.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Remember, he is the commander in chief of the armed forces of the United States of America.
Right.
He is not the corporate president. That was Nancy Pelosi, Speaker of the House position. Everything that he do is based on military information, outformation. So you got generals all over the world that's aware that Project Looking Glass told them to expect this event because this is the catalyst to another event, right? So as the catalyst, they've been telling us in Q drops to look for the shot heard around the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the codes it's a sound code. The sound, the right ear,
Yeah.
the rightful heir with the blood right hears the message.
Damn.
So he tell them to hold. The rightful blood heir has heard the message. Hold your position, right? Then when he get himself together, he say, fight, fight, fight. In military, that mean that's telling the troops to advance. So whatever they was already scheduled to do in the war room, now the generals around the world get the order immediately from the commander in chief to execute whatever the program is that they already was informed about execute.
So what you think the program is?
This is part of the redemption process.
All right, okay. The RV and the redemption and all that.
Right. In the redemption process, a rightful heir had to use the oral tradition to put in the public domain the steps being taken in order to recover the birthright for the rightful heirs from one who is no longer classified as an imbecile in law. Right? He's no longer a minor, he's a major now. Right? Which is also a rank. Remember, it was a minority report.
Right.
A minority is not fit to handle his own affairs because he's under the age of majority. When you reach the age of majority is when you inherit your inheritance. So they telling us in the codes that somebody's about to get their inheritance, and the inheritance is the earth, the right to the earth, because they followed the oral tradition as was laid out in the Indigenous Rights Act of the United Nations and the Indigenous Rights Act of the United States, both of them telling us they gave it all back. If we follow the oral tradition, they have to surrender all of their foundational documents. To recover the foundational document from the agents that took over the land gives us back the control, which puts us back in the place of what's called jurisdictional supremacy, which is the sovereign position of right on the land to apply tribal law, which we call the Great Law, and to restore the mothers as the tribal leaders and the matriarchs across the land. This is what we're supposed to do, right? Many of us have been so indoctrinated with the dogma of the church that we refuse to exercise our tribal rights. And the ones of us willing has been captured by the political status quo to follow the politicians to their own destruction, talking about harnessing of the vote. They don't need you for the vote because the vote is an internal mechanism when you get to the federal level. It's
Right.
had nothing to do with the popular people. It's the electoral college is seating your senators, your congressmen, your president, your speaker of the house. Right? This is how they can keep it all in the family because they know who they related to. They know who we are and they know who we related to. So when they recognize that a rightful heir to the blood right of the land has a counterpart feminine to that also has the direct genetic lineage to the first mother that they've been tracking since birth.
Damn.
They surrender the documentation in order for us to show that we've done the work. But the new system doesn't fit in the old system. If you try to put the new system in the old system, you're going to be guilty of fraud because they don't fit. This is why we have to switch over to the quantum systems. The quantum systems is intergalactic trade and resources with other civilizations throughout creation. And this is why they put Space Force together.
For that reason. Damn. This is good. So when this redemption process happens, so what if a person has not gone through their sovereign rights or anything like that? Does that matter? Or they gotta keep it?
Only one of us had to know the process and follow it through to the ending. The process takes 5 years. During that 5 years, you have to give up all of your earthly belongings. You have to surrender them to other family members that's still trapped in the matrix. You can't have no ties to the system, which is contracts.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the hard part for most people because you have to know how to structure your life where you can survive for 5 years without going to work. So I had a head start because I was building my life. And in the process of that now, my brothers is my keepers. They can continue with the building and they can hold it where it's at while I go through the process of redeeming everything for everybody. It's not just for me. If I get what's rightfully mine by executing the redemption process, it overthrows the old system and it brings the original system back online. This is the last being made first again, and the first being made last. It's the changing of positions in the social hierarchy based on socioeconomic conditions. And this is going to give us the power to do away with poverty. The first order of the matriarchy is everybody has to have food, clothing, and shelter. So when the system fall on this end, you're going to have what's called the dark period. The dark period is when the new system is about to reboot and the old system is defunct, which is already defunct and has been being dismantled step by step since 2019, July the 6th. So in the process, they did everything to let us know that they tapped out. We won, they lost. One of us remembered and followed the process from A to Z. Now they screwed. They got to give it all back like they said they was.
And we are in what year? We in the 5th year, right? This is.
Yep. It was 5 years to the day on July the 6th. Everything, it take 13 days of upheaval after that. The 13 days of upheaval is the shocking of the collective consciousness in order to them to realize what's taking place in the political arena. The politics falls, the banks fall in order for ours to become active. They are two incompatible systems that cannot function simultaneously. We not in power until we empower. But once we empower, then we can change the game. We have jurisdictional supremacy at that point, which is the sovereign right of the people of the land to govern their own land, resources, and chart their own destiny without the interference of foreign agents masquerading as our government.
Mr. Smith. That's what I call him. Mr. Smith. But you know what the sad part about it is, right? I won't say sad, but there are going to be some people that are going to be just like Cypress, and they're going to want to still eat that steak, even though that it's not.
Well, you got to realize this. They did a job on us. They did a very good job of using their education system to render us retarded. Mm-hmm. And I mean retarded as in mentally slow. Mm-hmm. Right? They did it on purpose by rooting out critical thinking and practical problem solving. We can no longer solve the problem of our condition. They keep telling us that God gonna fix it. So while we waiting on God to fix it, it's just not serving us very well. So maybe God want us to take the initiative to change the conditioning by opening the minds of the people to the oppressive measures that was used to steal a power from them. Once you realize who you are and what they did to you, it don't work on you no more.
It's like taking off the rose-colored glasses. Once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Yep. In the brain, your psyche, because of your spiritual connection with Creator, your psyche will go into an all-out defense measure to formulate your mind to a position where you can perceive breaking free and what that look like, feel like, and then it walks you through the process. This is the part of the redemption process. This is why it's a process, because it's not instant. Everybody wanted to be over today. I wanted to be over 5 years ago. But I knew it was going to take 5 years. So now we at the grand finale. They doing what's called the final curtain call on their stage show. I'm just waiting on the fat lady to sing, and I'm wondering who it's going to be this time. Patti LaBelle?
No, I'll sing. Let me be that. I know it.
Look, you think I'm joking. When it's finally over, I don't know, it might be Jill Scott, but it's gonna be a viral video of some overweight chick singing. Ooh. And she gonna be telling you in the song that she's singing this shit is over. And they gonna make a big deal out of it in mainstream media. This is how you gonna know that it's over, because they gonna put the fat lady up to sing. They already pre-programmed us. They already pre-programmed us to look for the fat lady to sing.
Yeah. Yeah, they've been saying that. It's over when the fat lady sings. They've been telling us that how long? It's probably gonna be
The
Lizzo.
the fat lady is the symbolism for the big mamas.
Mm,
But all of
mm,
the big mamas ain't big. My first big mama, Mother Margaret, was about 5'2", weighed every bit of 110. Excuse me.
mm,
But when she walked in the room, everybody knew that was Big Mama.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Everybody. It wasn't that they, even other elders that was also Big Mamas knew that Mother Margaret was their Big Mama too.
Mm, mm,
So in my life path, I have to go back to the beginning and find the Big Mama that's supposed to be the Big Mama of this era by following the movement of the tribes across the land. Knowing the tribal structure, I know that the Big Mama that called us to war was in the Carolinas. Called us all from all across the lands to fight the Gullah Wars,
mm-hmm,
right?
mm-hmm,
So this is why we was all concentrated in the southeastern United States.
mm-hmm,
Remember, Florida used to extend all the way to the Texas border,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
right? And that was the battleground, especially the bayou swamps in in New Orleans and
Yeah.
Mississippi, and in the swamps of Florida. That's why they chopped down all of the trees and burnt down all of the trees. That's why if you take 75 through the Keys, you can see all those burnt, scorched tree stumps sticking out of the water. They had to burn them down because we had tree walking clans. That's what Big Tookie was, a tree walker, right?
Mm,
He was, we used to call them skywalkers. And his clan used to live in the treetops until they chopped all of the trees down. Now when he come back and be born, his tribes is going to always associate with the treetop. They're going to always be looking up to the sky because they trying to figure out where the fucking trees went,
damn.
right? He woke up a Red Lodge and the Blue Lodge, which is the two warring clans across the land, when he woke up the Bloods and the Crips.
Yeah.
He woke up the Crips on the father line's right to rule. But the mother line is the right to defend, which wakes up the blood. So now you got a ruler line that's got the right to attack, to fight for the people. And you had a red house that got the right to defend. So you put them together, you have a warring clan unity that overcomes the obstacle when it comes time to combat the oppressor. All of these street gangs that they call them is ancient tribes that was reconstituted on the land, and they all follow their own chief in their own structure. LA and Cali is more oral tradition than the Midwest and the East. We have a lot of stuff in writing because that was the mechanism used to oppress us, was the written word. It was a paper chain and a paper chart. We got trapped in the paper through deception. So you need the oral tradition to override the paperwork, which grandfather clauses you in, and now you are operating from a higher law. You operate from universal law, you override contract law.
Mm, damn. That's why it was so much of a war on the gang. That's why Larry Hoover is in the situation. That's why they did all of that stuff.
Yeah. Well, in Chicago alone, the COINTEL initiative had 400 people that they wanted to neutralize that may be a potential to incite the masses as a black messiah.
Mm,
Most of the people that was on that list of 400 is not breathing today. And the handful that is in the custody of the enemy, because you can't exercise a sovereign right as a bondservant. So long as you in captivity, you can't assert your jurisdictional supremacy over the invaders. That was the trick, to get the chiefs off the land so there's nobody here to stand up and say, hey, this is our stuff and I'm going to follow this oral tradition that's going to grandfather clause me in. And under the grandfather clause, to reclaim the land, I'm going to exercise the grandmother clause, which is the tribal mother's right to restore the great law at any given time in order to make way for the next 7 generations. And we do it at the close of every age. And sometimes we do it in the middle when things ain't going right. Yeah,
I remember
Malachi Z.
several.
York is the Malachi Z. York is the high priest Melchizedek.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And his teachings are to raise your level to a Melchizedek priest, which gives you the suffix or surname Sodak or Zodak,
Zondak.
right? Which means the just, right? So now, if you are a Melchizedek priest, you know the steps that's required to establish justice when it's been upset by rogue entities masquerading as the rightful authority. This is why they took Malachi off the land. He can't be here. He's waking too many people up. He's starting to make the clans come out of the slumber. And the contract don't end till July the 4th of 2019. We could have ended it when Obama took office, but none of us knew what to do, and they wouldn't let me in because I didn't have no PhD or no MD behind my name. So they said that I didn't know what I was doing, and there's no way I could be the one that come with the keys to unlock the captives and set the captives free. And then when nobody else would come forward with the skill set that I offer, then they say, well, Johnny, come lately, we'll give you a try. Since you won't wait till the last minute to stroll in the door, I said, no. I came, and y'all shut the door in my face. When I first came home from prison in 2008, I went to everybody. They told me I ain't know what I was talking about and go sit down somewhere. So now I just sat down. Since I don't know nothing, y'all know better than me. Jeff Ford's responsibility was to take the enemy to bloody war. That's why they took him off the land. It's his job. He is the military chief, high chief of the land. They take him off the land, now he can't perform his function.
Damn.
Larry is the chairman of the board of the Committee of Chiefs, but he can't come and give the people a public report because they got him in custody. His public report tells us how they trapped us and how we got free. And it lets us know that we are in control of our own destiny once again. And if we can tell our children what they done to deceive us, they're not going to fall for the same things that we fell for because we learned from what they done to us. And now we can go tell it to the youth so that they can understand that they put infiltrators in our community to sick us on each other so we won't never unite and oust them from the land.
Infiltrators that look like us.
And I could show them the receipts.
So I had a dream. I remember, I don't know if, I think I sent that to you. I had a dream. This was some years ago. I think it was I'm almost sure it was 2019 when I had the dream. And in the dream, what they showed me, they told me it was somebody that was in prison that should not have been in there. He was a high-powered person, and he was going to be responsible for helping and setting everybody free. Now, this is before I knew as much as I know now, and I had that dream. And they told me that it was getting ready to happen, to hold on for the ride. And that was, I think, 2019. And I wrote it down because I was like, I don't know who that is. But he wasn't even supposed to be in there. That's what they said in the dream. He wasn't supposed to be in prison, but he was purposely set up to go to prison.
Look, in my case, I definitely earned my prison bit. I don't got no misgivings about that. I was a bad boy, but I pay my dues.
Right.
I didn't sacrifice nobody else for me.
Yeah.
I stood on my own and I took that. Same with my co-defendants. They stood on their own and they took that. We was wrong. They was excessive in their punishment, but they didn't think that we was wise enough to walk through the valley of the shadow of death with no fear of evil and come out the other side unscathed. So when they put Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the furnace and thought they was gonna burn them, shit, we was controlling the fire the whole goddamn time.
The whole time. So I do want to talk about, it's two different things I want to talk about because everybody's been talking about it and I'm so, people just feel the way they feel about it. Project 2025 and Chevron. I want to know about Chevron, but I want to talk about Project 2025 and how you feel about that and what that's for.
So the Chevron was to stop the arbitrary enforcement of rogue laws, right?
Mm-hmm.
These rogue laws, they really just rules and regulations from a private organization that's doing a governmental function. They're not our government. It's been a deceptive tactic the whole time. So once we realize that, the Chevron doctrine shuts them all down. If we apply it, it's a response to us canceling all of the contracts. I just spoke up for the collective because they didn't know what to do, and I did. And the ancestral protocols say the one that knows the way is obligated to lead. You don't allow the blind to lead the blind lest they all end up in the ditch. So in comes Cyclops, looking with the third eye to see beyond the veil. So I can tell all of the people who it was pulling the strings behind the scenes and what they're trying to get us to do.
Damn.
Her dream absolutely could have been about Dr. York, because that's an entirely fabricated case from A to Z.
Mm-hmm.
From the false paperwork that said that he had herpes when he got 25, 30 years of continuous annual doctor checkups with no herpes. Then he get to prison and he still tests negative for herpes. That don't make sense. That's a fabricated document. But
Kelly
all
said,
of them in there, all of the political prisoners. Another one, the brother that we remember is H. Rap Brown, Imam Abu Jamal Al-Amin. If you watch, you can go back and watch his case, and if you think that man is guilty, you got to be a goddamn fool. When I was watching the case, I knew they was going to acquit him because everything they needed to find him guilty wasn't present, and everything they needed to set him free was in the evidence of the case, and they still convicted him and gave him all them years. El Chapo didn't know he was doing business with the CIA. That's entrapment. He didn't know till Larry told him. I didn't even know Larry could speak Spanish, but I'm getting this message from the Wind Talker channel that Larry was able to have the conversation with El Chapo to explain to him how the CIA tricked him to feed the poison to his own people. And it pissed him off. And when I told people that, they thought I was crazy, but then El Chapo's wife, she come to court with one of these on. And she ain't Jewish. But all the folks know what's up. All of the growth and development, the black disciples, they know what's going on when I tell them Larry talking to El Chapo and he ready to rally the rest of the so-called drug lords to tell them what he was informed of that he didn't know before, that allowed him to exploit his own people out of the ignorance and the misguided social programs that the governments was using to keep them subjugated. He didn't know Mexico got as much oil as Saudi Arabia, but based on the Mesoamerican War, they're not allowed to use their own resources for the benefit of their own people. So we had to show the the mineral wealth extracted out of Mexico. So now he don't understand why all of these people in Mexico have to cross the border when Mexico is filthy fucking rich. So when we told it to him and he didn't know it before, now he can become the chief that he was supposed to be at birth when he came in to aid and assist his fellow brothers in overcoming the enemy of the Conquistadors. That's who we've been fighting. They know it in Mexico. They know it in Puerto Rico. They know it in Dominican Republic and Haiti. We just don't know it on the mainland. We was fighting Conquistadors. And we was fighting the French Legion at the same time. And all of the tribes was fighting. The 5 civilized tribes is the tribes assigned to hold the bear till we can figure out how to conquer it. So they used chiefs that they made treaties in their name, but these people wasn't real chiefs. They was just born over here last year. They Johnny come lately chiefs that was made chiefs by presidential order. That's not how chiefs is made on the land. You born with a birthright, and as you come into the realization of your status, you exercise your birthright, and that's how you show you a chief. You don't come in talking about I knight thee chief of the Cherokee. Who the fuck do that? That's some European shit. That's not how we operate. You born with the blood right to govern the land, and you exercise the blood right by informing the other clans members that you present, and they will eventually pick up on your presence and begin to act on the information by informing others. Each one teach one. We all gonna reach some, and we gonna turn this contagious information to set us all free. So now we know what they did. It don't work no more. And especially when the youth get it, they gonna take it to a level that I never even fathomed, and we already seeing that.
Yeah.
My favorite new guy that I just discovered a couple weeks ago is a young brother on TikTok. He got WTF News, and he is hilarious, but he coming with the receipts. He is hilarious. I love that little brother there. I want to get to meet him one day. I'm like fanned out. He be like, what the fuck? Yeah, that's my guy right there. That's my Tupac of social media. The boy king.
Dang.
You know, I got other ones I like 7 Bomar, 19 Keys, B-Dale, Red and Blue Pill. You know, people don't think that people learn from their mistakes along the way. Everybody not squeaky clean, and if you find a motherfucker that's squeaky clean, bring that motherfucker to me so I can learn from him.
Somebody done clean them
I
up
want to know.
and just swept it under the rug.
Right. I want to know how he walked through the valley of the shadow of death, and he ain't had to do nothing.
Yeah, no.
You gonna do some dirt, but you gonna learn from it, adjust, and you're gonna turn the loss into a lesson so you can't never lose. That's the ways of the wise. That's the tribal way. There go King David, my boy, Dave Allison, that's my homeboy from way back. We was running the streets of the Yak, terrorizing, and they told me I was a big fish in a small pond, so they sent me to Chicago. When I get to Chicago, they send me back home, say, you ain't no big fish in the small pond, you a whale in a lake.
Damn. So let's just talk about Project 2025.
Look, we got a 2025 National Mardi Gras for the whole year. Or you can follow the other paradigm of the gloom and doom. I ain't following that paradigm. That has nothing to do with me.
Right.
My paradigm is the revelation of the great World's Fair of the hidden technology in the med beds to get rid of the hospitals and the healing chambers to regenerate lost limbs
Uh-huh.
and rebuild broken spinal columns
Mm-hmm.
and unlock those children with the dystrophy, right? Correcting the defects. That's the
Yeah.
technology that's the 2025 I'm finna go into.
Yeah.
Now, anybody else, I don't know what 2025 they about to go through and whose
Yeah.
agenda
Yeah.
they about to follow.
Yeah.
But I'm following the tribal liberation agenda to set the captives free
Yeah.
and to reveal to the people that we free once again for real, not that fake declaration, emancipation proclamation bullshit that was just a transferring of the slave from the private sector to the public domain so that they could put all of us in slavery instead of just some of us.
I think it's just I think it's a bunch of bullshit. I didn't even, one of my friends asked, did I read it? I said, it don't concern me. I don't need to read that because it don't
I read
concern
it.
me. Mm-mm. I didn't.
I read it. I read it when it was a hot discussion of topics in the conspiracy theory circle. I read it. I don't believe that shit though. I don't believe they're gonna apply none of the. See, remember, it's two sets of plans being applied at the same time. It's us, the Earthborn, and we fighting somebody that ain't from Earth. Whether you call them fallen angels or whatever you call them, they ain't us. They not gonna win. So they had a whole lot of agendas. They got Agenda 2025, Agenda 2030, Agenda 2050. I don't care what their agenda is. They playing and I playing and my plan Trump they playing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, I want to talk about Akhenaten and the talk about Obama being cloned from the bloodline of Akhenaten. I definitely want to talk about that.
That was the Nazis' mission. Adolf Hitler, everybody think that he was racist in search of the Aryan. He knew the Aryan race was the Dravidians. And he knew that the God seat comes through the royal bloodlines of ancient Egypt. So when they discovered how to do cloning, he had his scientists working on the cloning project. So in the Boys from Brazil movie, they tell you that he was cloning himself, but that's not who he was cloning. When they went to Egypt, they found the mummy of Akhenaten and they took his cells in order to create clones. Originally, there was 50 Obamas. It looked just like him. Now, I think there's only like 10 of them left that they didn't experiment to death on. And so every time you think you're looking at Obama, it ain't the same person. They clones. He got about 10 clones. But all of them don't operate from that agenda. The one that they thought was the most character-wise like Akhenaten is the one that they chose to push to the positions of power. And that's why his birth certificate is in the Philippines, but he was actually born in South America in the cloning lab. And he was given to a family using CIA channels under Operation Paperclip.
Somebody said, how you think his hair turned gray so fast?
They do that on purpose. So the story they give us for the years of the White House grayed his hair. Because you remember when he went in, he was
Mm-hmm.
okay. And they said it's the stress of the job that caused his hair to turn gray. When you do as much dirt as that SOB do, your hair gonna turn gray too, because that's a whole lot of stress.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You gotta remember Benghazi. Benghazi is important because when you go look at the pictures of the shooters, you're gonna see Tupac. He was working with some Arabs and they assaulted the Benghazi embassy on purpose so that they can put Tupac's picture back out into the public to let everybody know that this is not a game, but it's a game. right? So this, when they put his picture out, they raised the bounty on the head of Assata Shakur because they can't tell nobody that Tupac alive, but they showing his picture.
Right. Ah!
And they deliberately made the picture blurry. They technology, the picture didn't have to be blurry.
Damn.
They did that on purpose, so you can't quite make out, is that Pac or is that not? We've been
Somebody said
at
why
war for 500 years.
500 years. Somebody said why did they put Princess Diana's picture back out in the
That's
public?
called soft disclosure. It's called soft disclosure. They put her picture up, but they don't tell you why. That's soft disclosure. They prepping you for something.
Damn. You know what? I people might not agree with it, but I gotta hand it to them. These motherfuckers was good. They did that. They was good. Good. Greatest show on earth is what we looking at.
See, my roster brothers sent the shout out. I, Selassie I, King of Kings, Lord of Lords, Conqueror Lion of the Lion of Judah. I, Selassie I, Emperor Haile Selassie, not of the bloodline of the artificial Jewish family. The information of his bloodline is in Who is Haile Selassie by Malachi Z. York. They tell you he not from the infiltrators' bloodline who call themselves Jews. And that's how I knew he was earthborn. And that's how I knew that the Rasta science deserved a fair shake because they was telling us something. I just got to figure out what they telling us. And so Nipsey came to sew it all up. The Eritrean blood was part of the redemption process of the earth. And sometimes we got caught up in wars amongst each other because we don't know who to trust. Because the enemy look like us, but they just not us. And that's how they was able to infiltrate our families.
That's why I chose that song. Everybody ain't your friend. Everybody ain't your partner. Everybody ain't a real nigga. If I say I got you, I got you. I meant that. That's why I chose that.
Black girl magic. If she say she got it, she got it. Ain't no doubt about it.
Got it.
That's my baby girl. My baby girl, black girl magic. She don't play. She don't play. And her cousin, they both work that black girl magic to help with the process. And the black girl magic say she got it, she got it. They be having me go on what's called high frequency knowledge drops. She say, we gonna learn them something today. We gonna learn they ass whether they want to know or not. We gonna learn they ass today. Signed, Black Girl Magic.
That's what we need.
And the irony of it is it's backed up from brown girl magic and white girl magic.
Yeah.
They all came together in order to put in their little magic formula ingredient into the stew in order for us to use it as a collective. But we so busy being stuck in the paradigms of divide and conquer and following the caste system of the enemy. The caste system of the enemy is enforced through making you separate yourself by skin color in the Americas, but also by financial status. So if they can control who get rich, they can control who got status. But where do that leave the po niggas and the po white trash down at the bottom fighting each other in the name of skin color, and neither one of them ain't got a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of? How long before we decide to sit down with the po white trash and have a conversation about the common enemy that's telling us that we need to hate each other because my hair nappy and he is straight? his skin yellow that they call white, and mine brown or red that they call black.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't assume the positions given to us by oppressors in order to keep their power structure in play, using all doctrines of hate and the formation of excuses to dislike other people without ever having a conversation with them. That's how you know that you've been controlled by an outside force, because you hating somebody that you know nothing about. Everything look black ain't black, and everything look white ain't white. We got to remember, one drop of blood is all it took to make them one of us. How do you expose that one drop of blood? Arts and entertainment. They used to sing opera, now they sing soul. What happened? They got a drop of blood. Look, there was no such thing as a pale face that sang like Adele in 1905. You did not have a Joss Stone in 1915. You did not have a Christina Aguilera in 1920. You did not have a Shakira in the 1930s. So they was using us to do all of the entertainment while they assimilate the drop of blood. And the assimilation of the drop of blood in the great melting pot allows them to express soul force energy. And this is how you know if they really from the old stock or if they've been revitalized with a drop of blood. They used to couldn't dance. Now they hip hop masters.
Yeah.
Break dancing, pop locking, and the whole nine.
Yeah.
When you ain't got no soul, you can't assimilate that frequency in order to match the beat. But when you get your drop of blood, for some reason, you like the jerk with Dean Martin. I got the beat. Look, Granny, I got the beat. Yeah. The one drop of blood that went to work and bailed you out. So now the ones that was kept as Lulu Aminu, human pets, now also has ascension rights, the same as the ones that's the first stock, or what we call the firstborn of the earthborn, the originals, the organic to all parts of the planet. Wherever you find us is where we supposed to be, because we was already there wherever you standing.
Right.
They want us to believe some shit called the Out of Africa theory, but they don't know the Akan tribe that's on the far east coast of Africa come from the Americas, and that's why we called it the Afar Inca, which means the Afar tribe that moves, right? And Inca mean people. The Afar people that moved at a distance, they move far away. And this is called the Amaru Inca. Right, and the Amaru has been put under the catch term as more in modern times to confuse us as to who we is versus who those conquistadors that came were. Because it sounds close enough to who we are, we give the benefit of the doubt to the lost in translation doctrine. Because now those who was classified in the French as Moray become more in English. And the ones that was in the native tongue, Amaru, becomes more in English, and they two different people. And that's why we couldn't never get out of the trap. Go back. Denmark Vesey, a nigga turned him in. Gabriel Prosser, a nigga turned him in. Nat Turner, a nigga turned him in. Noble Drew Ali, some niggas let the police have him. That was supposed to have been his security. Marcus Garvey was reported by a Negro about his stock in the never knowing that Garvey was sold faulty ships on purpose by people that was trying to sabotage his movement. They didn't know that he was building the trade route. They thinking he trying to take all of us to Africa. That don't even make sense. Why would you take all these lazy, shiftless deadbeats over to Africa to be lazy, shiftless deadbeats? You need to take soldiers if you're going to build. Go back and look at the pictures of Garvey. He didn't have regular people behind him. He had soldiers because they was dressed in uniform. And they was ready to take over till he read in the Masonic Memorial about the blood conjuring, the 200-year contract. That stopped him from going to war 100 years ago, because it was 100 years balance into 2012, because we gave them an extension with the war 1812. That's how the devil got the extension, because we took them back to bloody war in the middle of the contract, when we were supposed to educate ourselves out of condition. Raise yourself up by your own bootstraps. I ain't got no boots, right? So what did we do? We went out, took some trees, put some leaves together, made some leaf and stick boots so we can put some boots on. So we go back to nature no matter what you say. Just because we don't have your hard bottom buckle boots you brought from Europe don't mean we don't know how to make our own boots. It's just that they don't want us to make our own boots, so they make us believe that only they boots count, ours don't.
Damn. That's all I got. Damn. Somebody said this is soul grand. Key said this is so grand. This is so good. So one person had a question. They wanted to know, why was collecting feathers illegal? Or why is that?
So you don't practice your tribal traditions, that's all. They use the false pretense of endangered species, but they the ones killing them. The same people telling you you can't use their feathers is the same one that put them on the endangered species list to begin with, by harvesting them above their reproductive rate, poisoning them with DDT. So they don't want you. Everything that we did by our natural cultural phenomenons have been, you have to have a license. A license is to do something that's illegal in the system you in. You need a license to go fishing. We didn't need fishing licenses before they came, because we lived off the fat of the land and we went fishing regular. You need a license to hunt. That was part of the father-son building time, is teaching them how to hunt the fat of the land, so he didn't never have to have a whole cattle herd in order to survive. That's why they killed off the buffalo. They killed off the bison because it was polyunsaturated fat, and they gave us the bovine beef, which is saturated fat that clogs the brain and gives you Alzheimer's and dementia by the time you reach senior citizen.
Like that mad cow disease is what I think.
That's a protein. Mad cow disease is a programmed protein, programmed in the laboratories. It's synthetic proteins. The same as an mRNA virus. It's programmed.
Mm. Mm. Mm-mm-mm.
Yeah,
You know,
collecting rainwater is illegal. Driving across the land is illegal.
wait, back up.
Licenses,
Collecting
listen,
rainwater is illegal?
yeah, but you need a permission slip from your local slave master in order to collect rainwater. This is how you know they don't belong here. Because anything that you do to facilitate living on the fat of the land where you don't need their system is punishable by their law. Your sovereign capacity, your desire to be free from the restrictions of governmental oversight is a problem to the government that wants to exploit you. It's not a problem to your tribal family that want to see you blossom and be your best self and live your best life. This is the major difference in this false government, in the restoration of the tribal matriarchal government. The matriarchal government, you don't neglect one child.
Mm-hmm.
There's no such thing as child neglect under the matriarchy. Mothers work in teams in order to make it easier for all of the mothers on the team. But under the patriarchy, the mother works solitary, and she takes on all of that weight, and then she gets trapped in caregiver syndrome, And as she get older, her body begins to break down because she never gets a reprieve. She never gets the right kind of support system because her sisterhood was broke up by a broken mirror spell at the crossroads. That's why you have women talking about they can't get along with other women. It ain't that they can't get along with other women. They don't know that the spell for them to not get along with other women is working on them. As long as they don't know that that's a spell, it's called the broken mirror spell. It's since been reversed, but there's still what's called the residual or the tail of the pixie dust that has to be worked through by you realizing that the sisterhood, which is a group of mothers in any given community that come together to give mutual assistance with the rearing the children, this is the village that it takes to raise the child. Some mothers need a day off and they want to leave their children with somebody they trust. I'll leave them with my sister, but my best friend, that bitch better not try to keep my kids with them people that live in her house. It don't mean I got a problem with my best friend. She's just not fit to be a caregiver of my child because of the way she manages her household. But all of the like-minded sisters come together and they know, well, you know, Sharita need a break this week, y'all. You think we're going to take her kids with us and let her go to the spa and send her on a spa day so she can relax because she been wound up fighting with the schools and fighting with the church about her babies. So they come in, they take the babies off her hand, they send her on spa day. She might have one or two of the sisters that go with her to make sure she actually relax and actually enjoy her time away from the children long enough to reset before you go back into mother mode so that you can be in your highest frequency of mother, which makes you be a walking goddess on earth, which brings heaven back to earth. The environment of the woman that has that support system is always peaceful and harmonious. And they always accusing those mothers that's riding that energy of having OCD. That's not OCD, she's nesting. Get out her way and let her nest. That's it. And the sisters normally come through and help her, especially the ones that got a large family in a big old house. They know my sister can't do all that shit on her own. We're going to go over there. She got 14 bedrooms to work on. So they had cleaning parties. When they get done cleaning up, they sit around, have girl talk and sip wine, and the father's got the kids right now. But we don't remember our culture, so we letting these other people tell us how we supposed to live. But all tribes didn't live the same because all tribes had their own vine and fig tree. They had their own code of ethics, their own way of doing stuff, and this is how they was using this to turn us against each other. Because different tribes got different practices. What my tribe practice and what's in our literature, it's not the same as the vice lords in their literature. But we all got our own vine and fig tree. When we remember that, this allows us to rebuild and restructure according to who we are as opposed to who they told us to be. They told us to be their slave victim. I didn't feel like being nobody's victim, and I didn't feel like being nobody's slave. I tried to tell them, they thought I was crazy, so I just decided to unravel their code system out in the public domain using the oral tradition and the grandfather clause to activate the grandmother clause to restore the matriarchy to protect the children that overrides all of their legal systems of the known world. So since Big Mama's system override all their systems, they all got to tear them down because Big Mama said so. And she sent me to make sure it get done by cracking their codes.
Ooh-wee. You know you sent by the galactic, Rod. All this information that you have, ain't nowhere in the world. Ain't no way. If anybody got any question about that, you definitely was sent by the galactic. They was tired of this shit we was going through down here. You definitely was sent.
Well, they was indifferent to it. It was us who was tired of it. You gotta remember that. They was indifferent to it. Cause as long as we was accepting it and going along with it, they had no reason to interject. But when we started protesting and resisting it, now they have to send support systems to come in and show you the step-by-step measures to break free and to free the mind from the psychological traps. So they appointed me because my extra dumbass was too smart for my own good.
So
And
when
I
did you
started
realize you were appointed? When did you realize that you were appointed to do this? When?
when I was about 3 years old, and my mama said, "You got a mission from God."
Mm.
I've been sitting there looking at her like she crazy, talking about who the fuck is God and why he sending me on a mission. I still remember being baptized by my big mama. She baptized me in Jewtown in Chicago. Told
Wow.
my mama I was the baron. I came to make them all pay. I ain't know what it meant back then. I was a baby, but now I know what it means. But back then, I ain't know what the fuck she was talking about. Who the fuck is the baron and why she calling me this shit? But when you start studying outside of the doctrines of the church, then you start running into who these people is that the ancestors and the elders is telling you about. If you can trace yourself to somebody named Sonny, that was a high chief. All of the chiefs
I
had
got an uncle
some kind of
named Sonny.
name dealing. Yep, he's a chief. He's a chief by birth. That's why they call him that. It might not be his birth name, but they still gonna call him Sonny, Sonny Boy,
Yeah.
Little Sonny, Big Son, all that. That's mean he a chief by birth, not by elections. He was born to be a chief, but he might not never come into his own because we're not operating in our system.
Mm.
Right.
My mama's
All of the
from.
people,
Go ahead.
all of the ones in our family that carry the middle name Lee,
Mm-hmm.
they are contractually related to the ancient Asian families, the royal families of Asia. That's a contract. We keep the contract alive by naming our children. I got an auntie named Verdi Lee, her daughter named Bobby Lee, my father named Arthur Lee, his brother named Henry Lee. That's to honor that contract with the iron workers on the railroad.
My uncle's name is Espily.
Mm-hmm.
Eddie Lee. I
That's,
have an uncle named Eddie Lee,
mm-hmm.
and it's my dad's brother.
Yeah, that's the contract that we have with the royal families of Asia. And this is why Trump was so easy to get Kim Jong-un on board when he went over there, because he understood all of those um, birthright leaders of Asia know who we are, and they was waiting on that visit from Trump for almost 1,000 years.
Mm.
That's the story of Sun Wukong's journey to the West to recover the 10 scrolls of wisdom, which is the 10 scrolls they use to oppress us. Economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, war, and health is the common denominator. Because if you don't got good health, none of the rest of them matter. Yeah, but those are contracts. Those are ancient contracts. We use it in the name because when I use it in the middle name, that's called the key name. The key name is the name that tells you the family contract is to tie you to what royal family. Those are the dragon clans. But we don't know dragon mean master when it's talking about people. But when you talking about reptiles, you talking alligators and crocodiles and Sobek priests. But it's in the culture. It's never gonna die. As long as we here, we're gonna find a way to re-express it. Especially those ones that's called the salt of the earth. These are the ones that changes the musical standard of the planet. We change the fashion standard of the planet. We changed the entertainment standards of the planet because that salt is what makes the beauty of life stands out. And that salt is the soul. And those come with the soul produce the soul music. And we changed the music according to the children that's being born in the era. That's how we went from ragtime to hip hop. It's all in the culture.
Mm, mm, mm,
You can see videos of people in the 50s and the 40s that
mm,
they got in black and white and they rapping their ass
mm,
off. But they probably
mhm.
rapping about some church shit. But they rapping with
You're right.
bars, right?
Mm-hmm.
When in New Orleans is where the common term "what's your rap, nigga?" That's what that's come from. When we used to meet in New Orleans, if you was a chief and they say "what's your rap is telling them who you are, where you from, and how you operate. So when you meet another chief and you know, because he's gonna say, "What's your rap?" So they asked me, "Rod, what's your rap?" I'm like iced out jewels with a platinum. I'm like iced out jewels with this platinum style. My game blue smooth like a black and mild. Honey say she wanna step on the scene of similar to a sex symbol, if you know what I mean. Ice cream and a dream she be craving at night. For me to whisper in the ear, it's gonna be alright. Game tight, leave a body in a state of ecstasy, and every lady in the club wanna dance with me. See, I'm the type to stand all the tests of time, make love to the body and seduce the mind. Twisted in this rhyme, real platinum style. Got a line around the corner about a half a mile. Honey's lined up just to see it from real. They grabbing on my arms just to cop and feel. Asking all type of questions, just experience games. Sliding phone numbers, pictures, telling me names. But it's the same the way these haters be hating on me, but platinum back gorillas, they don't want to see. But since the age of 3, I've been attracting all ladies. Yes, it's safe to say I was a platinum baby with this platinum style. A smooth young player driving ladies wild. And y'all motherfuckers can't hold me down because I'm the truth motherfucker and I'm known to clown. So what's your rap, nigga?
Damn. Look, that's a deep bow moment right there. All hail to the chief, baby. That's a deep bow moment right there. All hail to the chief. Oh, my goodness. Mm.
It's the
This
subject
so good.
matter. It's the subject matter, right?
Uh-huh.
So, in the nature of the Bloods and Crips, their sworn enemy was the police. The police is what caused these chiefs to wake these clans up to redeem the land from the policy enforcers. At the time that the Bloods and Crips emerged from the varying little local sets, the police was shooting us in the back in California. They was killing us with a chokehold. They was infiltrating the Black Panther Party, and they was running police raids. They blew up Joseph Sinque. Literally, you can go back and look at the footage that played on the 6 o'clock news that told us, nigga, you go out of line, we will blow your house off the planet. But they arrested with no incident Patty Hearst, who was their victim, right? But then
Mm-hmm.
that Gerald Ford gave her a full pardon, so because he understood Stockholm syndrome and he understood that Joseph Sinque was part of the MK Ultra program, and he went rogue and went into business for itself, just like Charles Manson, because neither one of them believed in this race war philosophy. And the warnings that came from Charles Manson. He was the first conspiracy theorist whistleblower recorded, but they don't tell you that. They classify him as a serial killer, and the man never killed nobody with his hands and never gave a direct order to anybody to kill anybody. And nobody ever said he did. But he was the one that came out and said they planning on fluoridating all of the water across the land in order to have us under mind control. Charles Manson was the first person recorded telling us that when he was telling it to the family. He was the one said that they was using LSD in the government programs, and they was giving it to him, and he was giving it to them to show him what they gave him. The same dude that taught him and Joseph Sinkhu mind control was best friends with a very prominent Christian preacher by the name of Jim Jones, who decided that he was going to take his congregation to Guyana in order for him to be their Messiah and give them heaven on earth. And all he brought him was death and destruction on a white night knock off of a Kool-Aid sip. So when you start seeing all of the dots connect, it begin to make too much sense for you not to know that you're looking at exactly what you're looking at. An ongoing war effort of an invading force looking to subjugate the people of the land by giving them misinformation in the form of a propaganda campaign that they call an educational system. Because if you can convince the people whose rightful birthright it is that it ain't theirs, then they'll fight for something that's not theirs instead of fighting for what's theirs. Right? And that's why Tupac asked the question in one of his songs. He say, tell me, am I wrong for trying to fight for what is mine? I ain't fighting for somebody else shit. I'm fighting for my own self-birthright. Right? And all of us chiefs across the land, as we move up in knowledge, we get to understand how the enemy operate. I'm a war chief. That means I'm well versed in military strategy, whether it's Machiavellianism, whether it's Sun Tzu, whether it's Karl von Clausewitz, whether it's Napoleon Bonaparte, whether it's Hannibal, whether it's Muhammad Ahmed, all of the great generals, I've studied them.
Damn. So, Kelly and I were talking about somebody said Kelly wants to know about the dragons at the bottom of the ocean. Kelly and I were talking one day on the phone, and we were just talking. I didn't know anything about a dragon at the bottom of the ocean, but I was talking to her, and all of a sudden I saw these big eyes looking at me, and I knew it was in the bottom of the ocean. And I said, Kelly, it's something really big at the bottom of the ocean, and it's big as several bodies of water, and it's looking at us right now. And it's, it's just the eyes were just going. So tell us about the dragon at the bottom of the ocean.
The earth spirit is called Tiamat. Let that sink in for a minute. The earth spirit is called Tiamat. The symbol of Tiamat is the great dragon. The Kundalini energy of the earth is the energy that is Tiamat. Right? So they use sorcery to put her to sleep, and they use science to reinforce the sorcery. The science they used was nuclear holocaust, which caused the nuclear winter. But it wasn't going to matter that they artificially induced the nuclear winter, ice age with a nuclear winter to put her to sleep so that they can run rampant. Now she's awake because the women are waking up. And we're going into the sun cycle. The ocean is heating up. Just like in the springtime, bears come out of hibernation. In the sun cycle, the great Tiamat spirit awakens, and it sends a frequency around the planet. Y'all feel it, but y'all don't know what y'all feeling. The women feel it, but they don't know what it is. It haven't happened in so long. It's like nobody never told me I was going to feel like this. It's something I never felt before. What the fuck is this? Right? That's how they feeling because nobody ever told them before.
It's all kind of energies. It's even to the point of almost ready to pass out. Like you feel real dizzy sometimes, like you just standing. And yeah, it's real strong. And especially in Florida. Every time I go to Florida, it's real strong in Florida. Like really strong.
Florida, the finish line. When we was called to war to Florida, when we in the war, every chief that crossed the Florida state line, it's like clocking out of work. We clocking out of the conjure. We clocking out the conjure in order to go back home where we belong on the land. Florida, the finish line. They called us there for war. Now that the war is over, we return in peace in order to restore the peace back to the Florida territory. It's the same with having the family reunions in Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi, and Louisiana, because those family reunions, that was all part of the war. the the French Legion, we fought in what's called the Louisiana Purchase territory. But while we was fighting the French Legion there, we was fighting the Conquistadors in the Florida territory. And that's how the French captured the Fort of New Orleans, which is the old Mississippi Navy prime headquarters port. And that's why they always give reverence to New Orleans in the American history. They never tell us why. All immigrants used to come in to New Orleans. You couldn't come in New York like they do now. You couldn't come in through Cali. You had to come in through New Orleans because you had to be screened by the down south tribe, the old Mississippians. All of those tribes, just the 5 civilized tribes, are just some of the Mississippian tribes. They're not all of them. There was thousands of tribes that were set up alongside the Mississippi River in varying locations, and we know the old spirit sciences in order to redeem the land and to restore the matriarchy. But they was killing all of the chiefs that knew what to do. Like, for instance, they tell us Emmett Till was captured by some pale faces for whistling at a pale lady, and all the time Emmett Till was apprehended by some niggas who was gonna give him to the pale faces, and then they said he was whistling at the pale lady to get him an excuse to go get him. But what they really heard him is whistling Dixie. It was a war cry. And they knew that if he woke up, that his name was going to be Chief Littlehorn, and started calling himself that, and he started embodying that energy. It was over for their ass. His job was to rally the troops to war using the whistle.
Mm.
That's why the lady never went to court for the case. They never charged her with anything because she was just thrown under the bus by them niggas that didn't want to see us come up.
Everybody ain't your friend. Everybody ain't your partner.
And all skin folk ain't kinfolk. Some of them look like us, but they ain't us. They'll sell a mama and we'll kill you about ours. They'll sell their children and we'll break your neck about ours. That's how you know the difference. If they willing to sell their mama and their child, they not us. And selling the land to us is the same as selling your mama. And that's how you know in the treaties who ain't us signing treaties. Right? And that's how they use sharecropping agreements to take the land from us. They tell us we was all slaves, but they don't tell us how we got all these thousands of acres of land and we was never reparated for slavery. You have family with 100,000 acre plots. My grandfather land, they've built like several cities on just his land. And the Macomb area, his farm was actually in Magnolia, Mississippi, but the land that he was holding extended from Macomb to Tylertown. All of that was his personal farmland that they industrialized and built towns and cities on for work camps in order to steal the land from the people and give us jobs as farm hands on our own shit.
Damn.
The sharecropping agreement is how they stole the land. Same way they do us in Hollywood with them damn 360 deal contracts, where they end up with all of our intellectual property and we end up starving to death.
You know, those contracts
It's an enemy we fought on many fronts.
Yeah, they structured in such a way until if you don't know and you're not paying attention, you signing your whole soul over. You don't even know. You signing everything over, your likeness, your everything, your name, all of it, and you don't even know because of how they word it, how they put it in there.
Throughout the boundless universe in perpetuity, forever and ever, amen. That's how they say it. We will own your image and likeness in perpetuity, from now into eternity. Amen. I mean, they always own the rights to your intellectual property. The songs you write, the scripts you write, the dances you create, they own the right to it as long as they own the copying rights. The right is to copy your intellectual property. That's why it's called a copyright, right? And they own and issue the rights of copy, which is to duplicate you. And that's why they can take us out and put somebody else in our place, because we already consented to the agreement in the contract when we acknowledge the copyright, the right to copy us, to duplicate us, to create a straw man in our name and do business with the straw man as if you're doing business with us. And all the time it's a grand deception, a David Copperfield trick, an illusion.
Damn. Mm. Mm-mm-mm.
We
And the
got a
five
lot of people.
is up. 2025. That's 9. That's the completion of a cycle. That's what 9 adds up to. That is the completion of that's the final. 7 is the completion of a cycle. 9 is the finality. That's the final time. That's what 2025 is for us.
And it's also the maturation of the birth for the new age to be fully born
Mm-hmm.
in the ninth, in the 9 year, which is the 9th month of gestation. It's all coded, but it's all there.
Every bit of it. Somebody put this in there. Daniel put in GD 90019.
C Nation, Cali on deck, crooked man walk across the land. It's a zip code, a code to zip up the land. It's a C Nation knot, a Great Dane. That's my dog, Dane Calloway. Calloway, I want to be rich, the money man, the money market, mark the money, right? So now you know we playing with mark money.
Yeah.
And the money, how is the money marked? With a serial code to match the zip code. So you unlock the money code by unlocking the zip code, right? And then you find the area code in order to find the area in which the code derived from. So I'm in the 313 flips a 7, and this is a 7 year. We in the 7th month, but the maturation of the contract is on the 19th day. That's the sacred seal, and the sacred seal comes from an Islamic education, the degree of Muhammad, the praiseworthy one, the one worthy to be honored. Not really praised is the wrong term. It's the honorable one, the one worthy to be honored. But they say praiseworthy because honorable is a title of nobility that's patented by the royal families of Europe. So you don't call yourself the noble, you call or the honorable. You just say that you praiseworthy, worthy to be praised, mean recognized as an honor, but not your honorable, as in the judicial system, which is the Levite laws of the corrupt regime. And this is why they use the system of the levy, which is Levi, and the lien, the anagram for Enlil. So Enlil put the lien on the people and gave it to the Pope and said we would never figure it out. So I figured it out to prove them wrong. So you prove them wrong and you produce the facts, and then the facts speak for themselves, and then you speak for the people. So while they are arguing with the facts that speak for themselves, I can continue to tell the people about their bullshit so we can be free, because I don't feel like being nobody's servant.
Mm. Right. They saying teach. They saying like cold water on a summer afternoon. That's how good this is right here. See, I hadn't been around this kind of talk so long. Thank you.
The stuff that I be talking about, this is how our children used to talk before the settlers came. This is the conversation that two 12-year-olds from two different tribes would be having. Now you have to get to your 50s in order to have access to the amount of information required for you to be yourself, because they have a stranglehold on information. Most of us
Mm-hmm.
don't know where to look to find the information we need.
Mm.
So I just came to tell them where all the information is. This is where they hiding it at. Look over here. Oh, he flipping codes. This is what it means.
So someone said, speaking of Enlil, is he here now, and is Inky as well?
Inky's in Antarctica. These because they got to come in to see. Inky and Inanna is going to come and see the Earth jurisdiction to Hootie, which is me.
Mm-hmm.
So they got to do this big old thing, South Africa, which I don't feel like going over there. But we gonna have a Anunnaki jumper ship called the Crystal City. It was actually built on Earth in Atlantis, and they used it to transport gold and precious minerals to Nibiru from Earth. When it returns, it's gonna land in Colorado on Emerald Lake. That's the end of the Yellow Brick Road.
This
But it's
shit.
parked right now in Antarctica. And they have flown it over the land several times, and it has been recorded, and people have seen it. And it's all on TikTok, but people think it's what's that stuff? Project Bluebeam. They
Uh-huh.
think that it's a government projected. It's not. It's really here, but it's parked in Antarctica. The reason it's parked in Antarctica because people don't commonly visit Antarctica because of the climate, not because of the restrictions. It's the same as traveling anywhere else in the world with the same restrictions. You just need your passport and your security clearance to fly on the airplane or to ride on the ship. But most people don't have that kind of money to take a trip to freeze their balls off. But when they was asking for Larry Hoover, if you go back and you remember, I was telling people they was asking for Larry Hoover. They kept sending them all of the billionaires like that was gonna change their perspective on who we were on the earth. And they told them, don't you bring your motherfucking ass back down here with this bullshit no more, or you gonna have consequences and repercussions like you in the movie Life, trying to take somebody cornbread. They all went down there, Bezos, what's that motherfucker, Elon, all of them went down there talking about they was coming to represent Earth. And they was like, they not the ones that the Earth people sent them. They not the chiefs that's agreed to. You can't come do no negotiations on nobody's behalf. There's a whole bunch of people in Antarctica right now that ain't from Earth. It's called the Galactic Committee, right? When they not seated at their seat in the Galactic Council offices, they are called the committee, the Galactic Committee. But when they in their office proper, they are the Galactic Council. They come down out of their seats very rarely, but nobody had ever beat Enlil in eons, and they wanted to see this shit themselves.
Mm. Is
So
the
they
city
down here
gonna
watching social media like they from Earth.
so so this is Cliff asked a question. Is it the city in the sky that comes through the clouds?
Can you hear me?
Okay, I can now. Yeah. So they
Yeah.
ask, is it the city in the sky that comes through the clouds?
Yeah. Yep. They filmed it in Argentina. They filmed it in Florida, and they filmed it over Nevada. Yeah. They got
Mm.
more than one jumper ship too. Some of them not made the same, but the Crystal City is unmistakable.
So I'm going to ask you one. I know you got a good ride. So everybody, whenever you do an interview, everybody want to talk to you all night because you got so much information and we all want to suck it up. It's like, just keep giving, giving, giving. We just want to keep going all night. But I want to ask you about Cecil Rhodes or Cecil Rhodes.
Cecil Rhodes was he was operating under King Leopold's command, and he was a military commander that settled in the Congo. He was a staunch white supremacist, as in he knew who was controlling everything from behind, and he was doing a bidding when he went into the Congo. But he was a classic piece of shit.
Because he
So
came up with
all of
like the
these
80-20.
Rhodes scholars is pieces of shit following after his order.
Wow. Wow. Woo. There's so much. Oh, one more thing. I know I keep saying, okay, one more thing, but the red and blue Kachina.
Those are prophecies of the Hopi.
Mm-hmm.
And we looking for it to be stars in the sky, but it's people on the ground. It's the blood air on the mother line is the red Kachina. And the blood air on the father line is the blue Kachina. And the Kachina dolls is the representation of the Kachina dolls is the representation of the air as a child. They represent them with colors and they dress them up like baby dolls. Those are reminders. Those reminders.
Mm-mm-mm. Well, I know you said you was gonna get your popcorn and watch to see what's happening. I got mine because I know it's popping off and I'm ready, excited and ready to see
Yeah.
what's getting ready to happen, how it's gonna unfold, all of it.
Hey, some people tried to call in and messed up my sound. I can't hardly hear you.
Mm.
There ain't nothing you can do about it.
Oh dang. All right. Well, we got to do this again, Rod. So I'm gonna change the platform over to YouTube because IG keep fucking with me, and I knew they was gonna do that, especially because you were gonna be on the show. I knew they was gonna mess it up. I knew it.
Well, you can download this video and share it on your page on Instagram if you want to.
Yeah,
All
I'm
my
gonna
stuff is
share it.
open share to the public. I can't put it private because it wouldn't be classified as public knowledge, public information. But if I do it on an open channel like this, where anybody can access it, then that make it sufficient for public notifications. So
Well,
none
I'm
of my
gonna
stuff
download it and
can be
share.
set to private.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm definitely gonna do that. You are just I don't even want to say encyclopedia because that's some man-made shit that somebody done put together. You are
Well,
straight from the the Emerald
so
tablets.
look, the dudes I was locked up used to call me Dr. Rod, the Walking University.
You are. That's what this is. This is the universe, but it's a big university. That's what we keep forgetting, right? But you are that. You are the walking university. You are completely that. Wait, what about the Emerald tablets? How you feel about that?
The Emerald Tablets is written by Tahuti, telling
Mm-hmm.
you about who settled Kemet and the magic and how to use it. The
Mm-hmm.
instructional manual from the
Mm-hmm.
temple priests or the White Brotherhood. And it ain't got nothing to do with skin color. It got something to do with the white robes they wear.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I feel like you are the Emerald Tablet. You are the tablet by yourself. There's the Emerald Tablet. There's the Rod Tablet. All that information. Well, I am definitely going to download this. I thank you so much for just this time. Thank you for even opening up your platform. I don't know if you can still hear me, so that we could still do a Tea for Thought, even though they were blocking and doing some things on IG. So we appreciate you. Now, everybody that's been saying Rod is the man, Rod is the shit, Rod, what's your cash app?
$, capital S, lowercase IK, capital A, lowercase PE, sick 8. Yeah, we'll put it in. I'll pin it in the comments for a minute. So I
So
don't
now y'all
ask
heard what he
for
said.
donations, but if people send them, I accept them.
I know you don't, but this is the blessing. What you said was you had to give up everything for 5 years and rely on other people to handle things for you. You did that for us, so we can definitely do some things for you. Again.
But I stay in gratitude because I don't expect nothing from nobody. So anything I get is considered a blessing by me.
Mm-hmm. 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 Absolutely. Well, Rod, we appreciate you so much. Y'all, please bless him. 5 years he been doing this. Well, actually longer than this, but 5 years without nothing, right? So please just bless this, I don't know, this God. Please bless this God.
I don't
Okay.
ascribe to God because God can't solve human problems like
You are God.
rape. Like God can't solve problems like poverty.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd rather y'all look at me like a uncle or big brother than God.
Okay, so Chief, Uncle Rod. Uncle Rod. How about that? Uncle Rod. Making shit right for everybody. Handling all of it. Thank you so much. This has been amazing. And I will see you again soon. You know I'm gonna ask you to come back again, right? You already know that.
Oh, I got my cash app wrong. Ain't that something? I gotta redo it. I didn't even notice that. I'm glad they noticed it. That's the correction to the cash app for people that want to support. I don't look for nothing for what I do. I do it for us to be free from the tyranny or oppression. But for those who wish to support and show gratitude, that's my cash app, $, capital SIK, capital APE. Don't fall for the frauds. There's a lot of people trying to interrupt the flow of the currency, but the current that they gonna see is gonna be me, a real motherfucking G. So with that, peace out and share the video with your friends and family. Peace.